Hey guys, Jim here from DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and I love me some video pinball games. So today, we're going to be taking a look at Virtual Pinball on the Sega Genesis. Released in 1993, this was developed by Bill Budge and published by EA. It's the sequel to the 1983 PC game Pinball Construction Set. The main gimmick of this game is the ability to build your own pinball tables. When it comes to graphics, the game's pretty bare bones. It's one of those build-your-own style games, so you're always kind of hamstrung by the need to have repeating assets and the tools at your disposal. I do like the different themes that range from gory to mechanical, and I really love this blueprint template. It just gives the table such a cool look and feel. Outside of the assets, there's some weird choices, like the fact that it doesn't look like the ball is rolling at all. It's a disappointing little thing to say the least, it just kind of takes you out of it. With no on-screen panels or any kind of fancy presentation, this leaves a lot to be desired. As far as sound goes, it's not a bad package. You get a handful of music tracks to pull from, and they're all pretty standard fare for early 90s EA, but that's not a bad thing. The compositions aren't amazing, but they're lively and somewhat catchy. The sound effects can range from fine to grating, especially when multiple balls are on the table at once. So again, it's very middle of the road. As far as control goes, it's once again perfectly fine. It's a digital pinball game, and the flippers and tilting work fine enough. You hit the flippers with C and the D-pad, you launch with A, and you nudge with B. Standard stuff. One weird thing I noticed is that you can't tilt out of the table by nudging too much. No matter how much I tried, I just couldn't get it to break the table. I don't know why. The control for the table building isn't bad though. You basically manage menus and you go between everything, and the pieces will snap together when possible. The menu is a little clunky at first, but once you get used to it, it works pretty well for what it is. As far as the gameplay goes, there's two factors at work. The game comes preloaded with 29 tables of varying designs and visual templates. These are to give you an idea of what the game can do. That's also where my problems started. Long story short, every pre-made table is boring as hell. Unless you're a fan of tables from the 50s with limited, simplistic targets, there won't be a lot here to grab people's interest. The designs are pretty wacky, and all the warps, ramps, bumpers, etc., they're pretty cool looking. But without clearly defined high-value jackpots or objectives, it just gets boring quick. No matter how crazy of a design, there still isn't that much of an end goal for any table, which is disappointing. But you can save scores, so I guess that's kinda cool. The real appeal of the game comes from table building, which immediately puts it into a very niche category. I'll be honest, I got bored of this pretty quick. I just don't have that mindset to sit down and plan out and design a table from scratch. As I said earlier, the tools to do it are pretty good, especially when hamstrung to a 3-button Genesis controller, but it's still not for me. Buyer beware, you will only get out of this game what your creativity puts into it. If you're looking for a dynamic video pinball game, you're not going to find that here. When it comes to originality, there really isn't that much. The game concept's been done by the designer before, and the ho-hum table assets just aren't much different than the most standard of pinball tables, both in video games and real life. The replayability comes from not only being able to save your high scores, but you also get 10 slots to save your custom-built tables, so that's a nice touch. If you enjoy building tables, you have an almost infinitely replayable game. But if you don't, then you'll be like me and you probably won't touch it again after about an hour of play. When it comes to beer, I'm going to pair this with not a beer, but a beer building kit. It only seems right. Head over to Amazon and get yourself a Mr. Beer kit. I've never used it myself, but it's got good reviews, so I'm trusting the public on this one. Plan a week for yourself, build some tables, brew your own beer, then sit down with the spoils of your labor. So, at the end of the day, what do I think of Virtual Pinball? It's a cool concept. I don't really like it though. It's not that I dislike the game, it's just I don't have the attention span for this. I'm not the type of guy who can sit in Minecraft and build and build and build for hours. I'm the kind of guy who wants to pick up a game and play something that's been created for me. So, the pre-made tables on this, they're kind of coolish looking, but they're not, they're nothing special. There's not a lot you can do, over-the-top wise with this game because you're hamstrung to its world creation elements. So, the pre-made tables are kind of lame, and the tables that you can make, it's really up to you. So, not for me, it's for a very niche audience. So people who don't like pinball games won't become a fan from it. People who do like video game versions of pinball might not be a fan of it. But if you like to build stuff in video games, could be for you. The interface is pretty good. So that'll do it for today, guys. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button below. Leave a comment. Let me know, if you're a fan of this game, if you spent hours building that perfect table, or if you're like me and went, what's this? And as always, check the links to our other video game reviews, our pinball reviews, and we're the home of the Power Hour podcast, which is also on iTunes and Spotify. Until next time, guys, cheers.